It's Friday. Thank God. All right, so it's Friday, so if you're new around here, Friday is the day where we recap all of the headlines that came out of the NFC North this past week. It is once again time for weekly North news. So, the more episodes that I make of this series, and this is only episode 20, I'm realizing slowly that I'm going to have to remake that intro because Aaron Rodgers' days as a Green Bay Packer are likely numbered, so that intro isn't going to make all that much more sense anymore. So, hopefully, Jordan Love gets some good clips in preseason or, mini camp or whatever it is so that we can make a change because that's going to have to be redone soon. And it's kind of annoying because I just made it in January. This series has only been around since then, but it is what it is, I guess. That's a whole thing. But anyway, welcome to our Friday routine. If you're new here, this is where we discuss the headlines that I've been looking at for the past week for the NFC North. I share with you one for each team. We discuss it in the comments below, and that is the end of our week. So we're going to start things off this week with the Detroit Lions. We'll do the traditional format of one headline per team. The Detroit Lions headline this week is no-name wide receiver cores could get boost from guys like Victor Bolden and Quintus Cephas. So this is going to be a recurring theme for the Detroit Lions. It has been for a number of months, but the wide receiver group is very ragtag. It is very unknown. It is very not accomplished, if you could put it that way, compared to the days of Calvin Johnson and Kenny Golladay, which are over. Now we have Tyrell Williams, we have Geronimo Allison, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who was drafted in this previous draft in the 4th round. We have Brashard Perryman, who seemingly cannot quit the league for some reason. But it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and if anybody can step up, because this is not the same group of weapons that Jared Goff is used to having during his days in St. Louis. This is a very night and day situation for him. So we're really going to find out what he's made of this year. But is it going to be a fair way to grade him, given that he's going from the wide receiver group that he had in LA with the Rams to what he has now? But if players can step up, then maybe he has a legitimate chance to repeat what he was able to do with the Rams. I want to keep saying St. Louis for some reason. But one of the guys that has caught the attention of the media has been Victor Bolden, a regular practice squad guy, 26-year-old practice squad player who has been turning heads in the new offense run by Anthony Lynn. And the key, I think, to this is Anthony Lynn, because while he may not have been a successful head coach with the Chargers, he was a damn good play caller and was able to get the most out of a lot of people. I mean, the fact that Austin Eckler ascended to what he is, or what he has become with the Chargers, I think a lot of credit of that goes to Anthony Lynn. So maybe he can find some diamonds in the rough here with a guy like Victor Bolden. But the problem is going to be his frame, 5'8", 178 pounds. He would fall into that slot Danny Amendola role, which has been vacated in the absence of Danny Amendola, so he could step right into that. But a lot of the players themselves, one of the practice squad quarterbacks, I forget his name, had good things to say about Victor Bolden and his time with the team, how he's making impressive catches, really using his body to get in the way of receptions, things like that. But the ultimate conundrum here is what wide receiver is going to step up, if any at all. So as again, it could be Tyrell Williams. He's pretty much a known commodity. We know what he is at this point in his career. Brashard Perryman is basically hanging on at this point. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a rookie who has some, he has as much to prove, maybe a little bit less than a guy like Victor Bolden, who's been on the practice squad forever. Quintus Cephas, what is he made of? Geronimo Allison. It's really just a grab bag of, throwing darts at the wall and hoping one hits a bullseye. So that's what we're looking at, and we will continue to look at that wide receiver situation for Detroit going forward, especially as we get closer to the regular season to see which one of these guys pulls away. But right now, it sounds like Victor Bolden is making some people feel confident about what they could have in the wide receiver group. Next, we move on to the Chicago Bears. Their headline of the week is that the Bears might have found a trade partner for Nick Foles. And up until this point, it hasn't really been that much of a discussion. I mean, it's been something that we all know and talk about, that the Bears would like to get rid of that contract. because it's kind of difficult to justify paying a third-string quarterback, $4 million in guarantees or something like that. But who's going to take that contract on? That's the big question. So according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, there's a clear connection, quote unquote, his words, between the Bears and the Jets, and some of what he points to makes a lot of sense. The Jets lack a real veteran experience behind Zach Wilson, who will be the starting quarterback this season, I believe, as the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. Chicago wants to free up cap space. That's a dead given. And Jets GM Joe Douglas was in Philly with Nick Foles when they were both there at the time. So there's a possibility. I'd say if there was a trade partner that could be brewing for somebody to dump Nick Foles on, it could be the New York Jets. It would make sense. It gives you, some sort of confidence in a backup behind Zach Wilson, maybe even somebody to bring in and tutor the guy, because Nick Foles has been in the league for a long enough time now. And I think the Bears would be wise to pull this off if they could potentially do it, and it makes sense for them, because you're going into a season already with the number 11 overall pick, Justin Fields, who is the future of the franchise. You have Andy Dalton, who you signed in the offseason, promising him to be the quarterback 1. Nick Foles is the odd man out, and he makes too much money to be third string. So this is something that they're going to need to address, and it would make sense if they do it with the New York Jets, at least with this evidence, looking at us in the face, this list of facts. Moving on, for the Green Bay Packers, their headline of the week, no Aaron Rodgers. Tight end Jock Sternberger, is it Jock or Jake? I always forget. Is suspended for the first 2 games of the season for substance abuse violation. We first learned about this, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, where he posted on social media the full details of the incident that happened in February of 2020. Basically, it boils down to that he made the mistake and drank while on antidepressants, fell asleep behind the wheel. The team and his teammates were the first to find out of the incident, and we are just now learning of the consequences and the incident in and of itself. So this was kept under wraps for a very long time, but Sternberger will miss the first 2 games of the season. They will be without that tight end to start, and it is unknown who will be throwing passes when he returns in week 3. So that is it for the Packers. We end our weekly North News session here on Friday with some sad news coming out of Minnesota, and that is, I actually turned to the wrong page. Let me go to the the right section here. For the Minnesota Vikings, the sad news from the week is that Vikings superfan, who we all know from 2017, Grandma Millie, has passed away at 102 years old yesterday. We first were introduced to her when the Vikings gave her tickets to the playoff game for the 2017 NFC divisional round contest with the New Orleans Saints. It was her first ever opportunity to watch the Vikings in the playoffs, and she gets the Minneapolis Miracle game. It couldn't have been scripted more perfect. She ends up not attending the Eagles game in Philadelphia, which, I wouldn't really want to go into that environment either anyway, especially at, I believe at the time she was 98, 99 years old. She gets a call from Roger Goodell on her 100th birthday. Vikings 2020 Fan of the Year, gets to witness the Minneapolis Miracle. It's just unfortunate they couldn't bring home a championship for her. I have nothing else to say on the topic other than condolences to the family and rest in peace. That is going to do it for our edition of Weekly North News this week for Friday. Let me know what you think of these stories in the comments below. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.